Okay, so let's talk about the ending of Knock at the Cabin. Before we get any further into this, I do have a spoiler-free review if you want to go check it out. If you haven't watched the movie, go check it out. It is on the channel right now. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel, hitting that notification bell. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers, less than 4,000 to go. And we are still trying to fund our Indiegogo horror movie. Check it out in the description below. But let's get right into Knock at the Cabin. So Knock at the Cabin basically deals with a family that goes out to the woods to enjoy a nice, relaxing awayness from everything until four strangers show up who are just there to say, hey, we have a proposition for you. You have to make a choice of either killing one of yourselves and sacrificing the other in order to save the world from a apocalypse. This is insane. This is insane things to deal with, right? If four strangers come into your house right now and say, you have to choose one of your family members to sacrifice, and y'all have to sacrifice them or the world will end, what would you even say, right? So the family deals with all of this as they're going back and forth with the strangers, trying to reason with them and say, this isn't real, this isn't happening. And the strangers are going back and forth with showing them, yes, this is real, this is happening, showing them on the TV some of the things that start to happen. You have the four strangers here who are led by Dave Bautista, who is Leonard, and let me tell you, he was a terrifying person in this, but one that you also feel for, and that's for all of the other strangers as well, who put on such an amazing performance throughout the movie. But that's more my review. I'm starting to make this into a review. But no, basically you have this choice to make now. And so we have the family tied up. The young girl isn't tied up, however. And the two fathers are just there like, please let us go. This isn't real. Y'all are delusional. It can't be. They make the choice to not make a choice, and every time they say no, somebody gets killed. And so we see each of the strangers start to get killed. Eventually, one of the fathers is able to make a distraction enough for the other to get out and get his gun, and then he is able to shoot one of the strangers and sort of try to get his family to safety. But the tires in their car have been slashed, of course, by the strangers, and we eventually see that they are now in the final of the apocalypse. They show on the TV everything that's happening. Planes are falling from the sky. There is a sickness going on. Tidal waves are invading cities, and it is just insanity upon insanity. Then the final stranger makes the final call. Will you make a choice? To which they say no. And then we see that Leonard, who is the final stranger, eventually does sacrifice himself. And now the apocalypse is raining down. This leads to the two fathers to have to make a choice. Will they be making the choice or not? Eventually, one of them says, yes, I felt it. I felt there was something going on. I even thought I saw something as well during some of the sacrifices that the strangers made. I believe this 100%, and I want to be the one to get sacrificed. The other one doesn't want to hear it, but eventually the other one does convince him to do this, and we see the apocalypse just seem to stop with the other father and the daughter go out into town in the stranger's pickup truck, and they see that in the news everything has stopped. The cabin has started to burn down as well now, and it seems that maybe the strangers were telling the truth, that all of this was happening because they didn't make a sacrifice. We then eventually see the father and the daughter go into the pickup truck, now leaving to whoever knows where, and they turn on the radio to hear the song that they would always sing with the other father right before all of this happened, and they don't know if they want to listen to it or not, and we pretty much end with them driving off into the apocalypse that has now ended, it seems. So what does this ending mean? What is it all about? So I just want to talk about first and foremost the song playing at the end. I think there's many interpretations we can take from this. I feel, in my opinion, was it a coincidence or not that this just played? Was it a coincidence that everything that just happened ended after that sacrifice they made? Would it have all just ended if they hadn't even made the sacrifice? I think that's one way to look at it. Maybe it's not the way that M. Night or the screenwriters intended it to be, but I feel like that's my interpretation of it because that's what it felt like. It's just like, what a coincidence this song would just be playing right now, right? Or is it a message from afar, from the father, of course, who sacrificed themselves, sending this song saying like, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay? Or you could also look at it as sort of a play that, are you okay? Am I okay? Because we see the daughter turn it on, and then we see the father turn it off, and then we see the daughter turn it on again. And they just look at each other like, are we okay? Are we going to be okay? And I think by the end, when they're just letting it play, they're saying, yeah, we're going to be okay. So I think that's so many interpretations with that. It's up to you to decide. But I took it more as a coincidence maybe or not, like sort of playing with that feeling, but at the same time also like, we're going to be okay. Overall, though, I do like the whole thing at the end where they're explaining how the strangers are the four horsemen. And I know that's something that many people didn't like in the movie, but I'm okay with that because I feel like the characters coming to this realization on their own and seeing it happen was sort of more of an emotional aspect of the final part where they're just like piecing it all together and they're racing through their mind thinking about this. As they say, one of the characters was nurturing, one of the characters was malice, one of the characters was guidance, and one of the characters was healing. And you sort of see this as they were all the apocalypse four horsemen, as it is said in some scriptures and all of that, that these four horsemen would come. And also you can kind of see it with the doomsday scenarios they presented as well, that sort of felt like the four horsemen, with sort of having this sickness, also having this fire, all of that throughout. And I thought that that was an interesting way to tell the story. And I mean, just from the trailer, the pictures and everything, marketing, promotion, all of that, we definitely did get that vibe that these four strangers were the four horsemen. They claimed they were having all of these visions, and at first you're sort of juggling between whether to believe them or not, whether these visions were true or not, because we find out that one of the four horsemen, or four strangers, who is played by Rupert Redman, had actually been one that had attacked the couple a couple of years prior, and that was the reason that one of them became like more paranoid and sort of got a gun, learned to fight, all of that. So they kind of felt that they were being targeted because they were gay, and it sort of had you questioning if that was the case or not. But by the end of it, they saw that none of them were actually lying, because they thought that one of the other ones was lying about having a son and wanting to live for their son. But of course they did it because they ultimately were sacrificed because they hadn't made the choice at that time. And I thought that that was an interesting way to sort of like pull it all together as well. By the end of it, however, do you think or do you not think that the apocalypse was really happening or not, because they weren't making a choice? They sort of come to the agreement that maybe families all throughout history have had to make this choice, and that's the reason that we haven't had an apocalypse. But I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I myself think that the movie is sort of leaning into it, that there was an apocalypse happening because they weren't making a choice. It felt more straightforward. There didn't feel like a twist or anything in it. I just kind of felt like if you take the interpretation of the song as it being a coincidence, it could kind of make sense why there maybe not have been an apocalypse. But overall, I did enjoy it. I thought that the ending was great. I think the way everything wrapped up in the end was very emotional, in my honest opinion. I know many people didn't dig the movie or didn't really vibe with it, but I thought it was great. I think it's M. Night's best in a while, and I'm excited to see what he's up to next after this. But let me know your thoughts and your opinions on Knock at the Cabin and its ending. Was there really an apocalypse or was there not? Let me know down below. But like I said, we are still trying to fund our Indiegogo slasher horror film down below. So go check it out. And make sure you also check out our Patreon, where we will be uploading more stuff. We'll be starting on Valentine's. That will be the first day of our Patreon, where we'll be doing all the stuff from videos that you only get on Patreon to also lives that will only be on Patreon. So go check that out in the description down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers, less than 4,000 to go. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a video, and I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.